So this video is to help give insight into your soul's origin. If you've ever felt like Earth just didn't feel quite like home, or being a starseed, just things felt a little bit off being here on Earth, then in this video I'm going to be going over the 6 most common extraterrestrial races or star beings that we find here currently on Earth. So with these 6 individual star races, I'm going to be going over their unique characteristics and traits that you can find yourself resonating with more than one, if not all of these, because it's very possible that you've spent lifetimes on a variety of different star systems, because each one has unique lessons and unique experiences that and as a soul would want to experience. So before we come here on Earth, we go through a state of amnesia through the descension process. As our soul descends, we forget all past lives, past of who we are, past experiences. So we can come here on Earth completely in the body that we chose and experience it to the fullest with none of the past baggage kind of like lingering. But you still have that part of you, that soul part of you that you're connected with. So an intuitive knowing that things just might feel different or might feel off still kind of is still always there, because you're in touch with your soul. So first off is the Pleiadians. You can find them in their star system, Pleiades, and they have a consciousness level of 5D and up. They're also one of the younger races in the galaxy. They are older than humans, but still younger than a lot of the extraterrestrials and star beings that I'm going to mention in this video. Typically on their planet, they are very fair skin, blonde, light hair. There's also red hair, but it tends to be very fair skinned. They have a very willowy body type, so it's very tall, slim, long limbs, very lanky. They also have very defined jawlines and cheekbones. Pleiadians are known for their very strong heart center. They're very much connected with that heart, and part of their reasoning to come here on Earth and to help get in touch with their emotions, their heart, and to really express that. So they're very in touch with that part of themselves. They give love freely and aren't necessarily so concerned with receiving it, which is where they come with a lot of their own karma and lessons that they would like to learn. You know, you're in the presence of Pleadian because there's just this aura of acceptance for no matter who you are. You can be yourself completely, and you know that they won't judge you necessarily or reject you. They'll just accept you for exactly who you are because of that strong empathetic nature within them. Now, on the flip side of this comes with a lot of karma on their end. One of the things that they're very much learning to, Pleadians are learning to integrate, is boundaries and balance with the heart chakra, because it comes so easy for them to give love and tend to attract a lot of narcissists or individuals who would rather take advantage of that emotional strength. For the sheer fact, since they can't manufacture love on their own, they have to take it from others. So a strong karmic Pleiadian lesson is give and take with love. Giving love to those who deserve it, but also being very balanced in understanding receiving is just as important as giving. Of nature, they're the dreamers. They have very vivid imaginations. They're a lot of fun. They're fun people. They're very well liked. They have elements of charisma and just an attraction, a pull because of those emotions. It very much just kind of like pulls you in and you want to learn more about them, and this goes back to that whole emotional connection and that ability. They come with a lot of healing abilities. You often find like shamans or witches, very good with Reiki or laying of the hands, very good with just healing on that level. Also, Pleiadians love to challenge the social norms, and specifically gender roles. On their specific star system, they view gender not as two separate, male-female, but more of a spectrum. So they come with a lot of that here on Earth and love to challenge the way in which you view the masculine and the feminine. They view it very much as we both have those qualities within, and sometimes one is more predominant, and that's where you get this whole spectrum of energies, feminine, masculine energies within each individual. It is important to mention that currently here on Earth, Pleiadians, in terms of the starseeds that I'm going to mention in this video, they make up a good majority of the starseeds here on Earth, of quite a few million of Pleiadian souls here on Earth. Specifically, a lot of them incarnated during 60s and 70s, and then just onward from there. You can see that in a lot of just like, they were very much about love, peace, unity, oneness. This is a big Pleiadian theme, and you see that in a lot of just 60s, 70s cultural marks. So this was brought about a lot through the Pleiadian consciousness and their ideology. Next starseed beings are the Syrians that come from the star system Sirius, which is host to a vast array of different star souls, depending upon which specific star we are talking about. They're younger than the Octarians and the other starseeds that I will get to here in a second, but they are older than the Pleiadians and humans. Now, because of their star system having such a variety of different beings, it also comes with a variety of different characteristics, specifically appearance-wise. You get a lot of mixture between feline, and this has to do with a lot of the Lyran starseeds that came and inhabited Sirius. So you have a lot of mixture of feline, cat-like beings, as well as, because it's a very watery, amphibious type of star system, specifically Sirius A, you get a lot of amphibian beings that might look more fish-like or whale, dolphin. There's just some similarities in terms of water creatures and that specific being. But along with the lying beings and cat beings that I mentioned, and the amphibious beings, we also have lying beings with wings and bird-like beings, and then, you know, blue-skinned beings, and that goes more hand in hand with the amphibious beings. Also, Sirius in general has played a large role in the vast history here on Earth. We see a lot of connection with the Dogon tribe of Africa. They were in communication with a variety of Syrian beings, specifically the Nomos from Sirius A, that gave them a lot of star wisdom, and that you can still see in a lot of their rituals, etc. Now, there was a group of Syrians who incarnated in the very beginning stages of ancient Egypt after the Great Flood of Atlantis, and a lot of them went to Egypt, and a majority of those were Syrian star beings. So that's where we get a lot of our original Syrian connections, was from that original group that inhabited ancient Egypt. But Sirius, the actual star system itself, is extremely mystical. There is, like I mentioned, a variety of beings, but it's very mystical beings. They have a lot of griffins, winged creatures, winged lions, unicorns, winged horses. So it's a very mystical planet. They produce a lot of high level priests and priestesses, witches and wizards. It's very, very mystical, very magical, and that goes into their purpose of coming here on Earth. They tend to gravitate towards a lot of the mystical healing, either being a witch or a warlock, wizard. They have a lot of healing abilities. They're also more akin to align with the arts, music. They'll have a lot of creative abilities going back to their just vivid imaginations that they'll want to harness and share with individuals, share their imagination. Obviously, they don't really like stereotypes. They don't like being put in a box. You will tend to find them being very much more of the alternative. They tend to like piercings, tattoos, which is more of a norm now than it used to be, but they gravitate more just towards that in a way of expressing themselves, as well as being interested in the Gothic. Syrians love fantasy, so fantasy books, fantasy games, Dungeons and Dragons, all of that mystical, just fun, reminding them of their home planet. Syrians tend to be a little bit more on the reserved and quiet side when you first meet them. This is due to the fact they're very analytical when they first meet someone. It's almost kind of like they would rather people watch or watch you to understand you first, to see where your truths, where your lies lie, and then through that understanding, if they feel safe, that's when they start to open up to you and allow you to see more of who they are on a deeper level. They can tend to be very wary of who they trust and keep parts of themselves kind of closed off until that trust has been built. But they are very intuitive and know exactly who and who they cannot trust, going back to because they're just good at analyzing and watching kind of from an outside perspective. Because of this, they keep their groups of individuals who they associate with rather small, which they're perfectly fine with. They're not the most interested in out and partying. They, even though, not to say they're not, but they tend to be more staying at home with close friends and family. They find more comfort in that. Also, Syrians are extremely nurturing individuals. They're very loving. It's very difficult to anger a Syrian because they're so calm and understanding and want to come from a place of that. And they do tend to bottle a lot of emotions up also, and then some points just explode from that. Have like a wicked sense of humor. They're just very witty, they know how to pinpoint specific things and draw parallels. That just makes them overall very fun, very funny beings, very fun to be around. They're also very strong and concerned with animal rights and nature. That tends to be especially animal rights. You see a lot of them very much involved with that as a way in which to express their voice. Next starseeds are the Lyrians. They come from the system Lyra or the star Vega. They tend to have a consciousness level of 7 up. A lot of these Lyrians actually incarnated and inhabited different star systems after the destruction of their own. There was a war between the Draconians and the Lyrians where it caused the complete and total obliteration of their star system. Is actually still to this day uninhabitable. So because of that, a lot of them incarnated, went into the Syrians and went to the Pleadians and those star systems. Lyrians are some of the oldest star beings within our galaxy and have a very long history. Now, the actual original Lyrian race, not very much in existence. It's more of their descendants that still exist today. But a lot of their characteristics of their specific star system, race, and group is very feline. They have a lot of lion features, maybe more feline features, feline eyes, feline just nose. They just have an element of feline to them. It is believed that the Lyrians brought the element of fire and that strength of willpower. And that is part of the Lyrian purpose here on Earth today, is to help individuals get in touch with their willpower and that strength, and to really harness it and use it into which they choose to and what fits them best. Love living life to the fullest, and because they're so in touch with that fire, that element within, they tend to be very independent, love their alone time. They're also very passionate individuals. They love myths, history, conspiracy theories. They love truth, uncovering truth. They're also drawn to the more older forms of magic, so maybe candle magic and ritual, more so than maybe crystal magic and maybe the newer forms. They love that ancient deep truth. They also feel very deeply. Also, they're very empathetic. And though they are very much in touch with that more masculine willpower part of themselves, they also balance it very well with empathy and compassion and those energies also. They're also effortless manifestors. They can just think things and it starts to already start to work on a physical level. Now here on Earth, that's where they get kind of caught up because Earth is so currently still so dense and manifestations take time to really see that physical product. Sometimes they can get caught up in not completely understanding why it takes so much more where they're used to things just instantly manifesting. Because that's what they're very good at, is magic and manifestation. They love freedom, spontaneous trips, anything that makes them feel alive and in touch with that independence, going around the world, traveling around the world. This is also due to the fact that they have a completely fearlessness when it comes to them, because they've incarnated in three-dimensional worlds so much and they're used to the higher frequencies and dimensions. To them, coming here on Earth they're not consumed with a lot of fears because they understand that there's a higher reasoning and a higher purpose behind everything. So they tend to be very fearless in the pursuit of their dreams and the things that they want in life. They're very, very strong, specifically like strong-minded individuals. Also, because of this, they don't mind challenges. They don't mind things that test their willpower and their ability to really call on that warrior part within themselves, because they've harnessed that. That's their gift. That's their strong suit, is willpower and being a warrior. They're also drawn to animals like cats, birds, rodents. Specifically, you'll see a lot of feline connection because this reminds them of who they truly are on a deep soul level. Next starseeds are the Orions, which come from the constellation Orion, which also has a variety of different beings, very similar to Sirius, but also has a lot of war history that's very similar to the Lyrians. There was a point in the Orion history where the Greys and the Mintakes had dominance essentially over the Orion beings and started to exert more power and control. And actually, because of these wars, specifically when the Greys came and inhabited Orion and exerted dominance and control over their civilization, they began to grow very weary and decided to cut from their own incarnation and start incarnating here on Earth, which it is still believed that the Greys still inhabit much of the Orion star system, as well as a bunch of different offshoots and beings also. And it's because of this dominance and control that they still have subconscious traumas that they are bringing over here on Earth. This goes and ties into their karma that they have chosen to take to balance that out in time. Now, Orions tend to associate more with the masculine energies and are very mentally strong beings. They are very good they're natural engineers, very good at problem solving, analytical thinking, critical thinking. You take something, they'll figure it out. They love riddles, so think very high IQs. But this also goes into the karma that I just mentioned. Because of this dominance of the masculine, they also want to karmically get in touch with their feminine side of self and understand compassion, love, and trust to help balance that out. They also have an amazing sense of humor. They are very good at pinpointing little details and just know how to put a comical spin on things. A lot of Orions chose to help improve civilizations in the field of science, knowledge, technology, to kind of advance those to a new level. Because they're so logical and intellectual and very thought-based, this tends to get them very much in their mind and overthinking to sometimes the point where they can start to take things internally and just overthink to the point where they doubt themselves. Also, master manifestors, they have an acute ability to mix logic and spirituality. So you're not typically gonna find Orion starseeds very much into like the whole woo-woo part of spirituality. Not that there's anything wrong with that. They're more logical, there's more analytical, they like proof before when they're presented with a particular topic. They would really like proof or ways in which it's factual, to really take something and understand it on a scientific level, more so than maybe just a state of blind trust. Also fiercely independent, they don't mind hard labor, they don't mind hard work, they love things to be a certain way. This also goes back to their gifts. They're very good at discernment and are able to understand it as a puzzle and what pieces need to be placed in what position. Also with Orions, due to their past history on their own star system, with the Greys exerting dominance and control here on Earth, they're very strong in their beliefs and what they want to stand up for. You won't find them in a corner not sure of their opinions or their beliefs. You'll see them on the forefront, very much standing up for what they believe in and what they view as change. So Orions are that intellectual puzzle piece that we need here on Earth to really help strategize and to get things to a specific point on a more concrete, logical standpoint that is very important. All right, so next starseed race is the Octarian, come from the star system Octarius. These beings are 9D and up, and because they exist on such a high frequency, their body is very much in between a physical and an etherical state. So it's very light, but typically what you will find on their specific star system is blue skin, a large skull that tends to be more of a spherical shape. Some of the characteristics that Arcturians possess are very logical, linear ways of thinking. They are more drawn to the fundamental sciences and technology and math. Very much involved in a lot of quantum physics and understanding the universe at a very core scientific level. That's part of their purpose of coming here on Earth at this time, is to merge spirituality and science. So it's more viewed as two sides of the same coin than two separate entities, and developing new community living models. So very much think earth house, solar panels, eco-friendly products, things of that nature. Also, they are highly telepathic and good at transmitting as well as receiving energetic information. They generally do so in geometrical patterns as well as color and sounds. They are strongest within their throat chakra, as well as communicating and transmitting energy via that energy point. They're very well at public speaking and don't mind being in a public eye to express their views and opinions. They excel at thinking strategically, as well as masters of geometry, and specifically sacred geometry. They are the masterful chess players, because they're so versed in ways in which to plan and think strategically. Also, the mind and psychology, very analytical, very strategic, plan-oriented.